Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, hi, I'm Shivan and I make videos about medical school and university. Like my videos, if you like my content, if you're interested in getting into medical school, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below to see more videos like this. Now today's video is going to be about the abstract reasoning section of the UCAT. Something that can seem very daunting, very scary at first because it is something that is quite new. However, with time you'll actually see that it's the best section of the UCAT because it will actually raise your score by a lot and it can actually end up being quite a scoring section. The way to do well in abstract reasoning is to just practice. Practice as much as you can because it's just basically a skill. It's a lot about your perception and that will improve with more questions that you do. However, I'm going to give you some tips, tricks and strategies that I learned along the way, and I feel like by giving them to you right now, it'll smoothen the process for you and it'll make everything much easier. And it'll also make the whole preparation process for you much more efficient. So the abstract reasoning section, it seems quite time constrained because it's 55 questions in just 13 minutes. I mean, that seems really scary. However, if you figure out a pattern to a particular set in abstract reasoning, you could answer 5 questions in under a minute, and that's pretty efficient. And it makes the 55 questions in 13 minutes actually quite doable. So basically, we need to understand how we figure these patterns out really fast. I'm gonna divide this into each type of question. So there's 4 types of questions in abstract reasoning. Type 1 and type 4 are very similar. And then you have type 2 and type 3 questions. Type 1 and type 4 take up most of the questions in this abstract reasoning section. Approximately 80 to 90% of the questions will be from these types, and the remaining 10 to 20% will be from type 2 and type 3 questions. So type 1 and type 4 questions are actually the more new and complicated ones. So the first one, which is type 1 questions, those are questions that are set A, set B, or neither questions. So basically, I'll give you an example of that. So as you can see up here, they give you 2 sets, set A and set B. And then they give you a number of shapes below and you have to figure out which set each shape belongs to, whether it belongs to set A, set B, or whether it belongs to neither set. So to figure this out, you have to figure out the pattern in each set and which shape matches that pattern. Similarly, type 4 questions involve again figuring out the patterns in 2 sets. However, after that, you're given a choice of many different shapes and you have to determine which one belongs to set A or set B. Now, the simplest framework you can use to begin answering type 1 and type 4 questions is the SCANS framework. So SCANS is an acronym that stands for shapes, colors, arrangement, number, and size. These are all elements you want to look out for when you're trying to determine the pattern in a particular set. Other things you want to look at are symmetry and the number of and type of angles in a particular set. You also always want to check for multiple factors. For example, in this set up here, pause the video and take a moment to look at it. Okay, so basically in this set right here, if you look at it at first, the first pattern that I figured out was that there's a white quadrilateral in each shape. So a white shape with 4 sides, in a white object with 4 sides in each shape. And you probably stop at that to start answering the questions. However, you need to realize that this pattern is too simple and that it really won't eliminate much and it'll make answering the questions too easy. This is something you can only realize with judgment. And judgment comes with practice. So as I said at the beginning, practice is important. But now that you realize that this pattern is too simple, you can take another look at it. And now by taking another look at it, you can realize that there's not only a white quadrilateral in each shape, but there's also two objects of the same type, that one black and one white in each shape. So for example, in the first one there's a black rectangle and a white rectangle, and then in the second one there's a black parallelogram and a white parallelogram, and in the fourth one there's a black rainbow type shape and a white rainbow type shape. So those are the main things you want to look at for type 1 and type 4 questions when you're answering them, when you're practicing. Also, you need to use smart guessing strategies. With 55 questions in 13 minutes, there's a high likelihood that you'll have to guess at least some amount of questions. And you're best off guessing type 1 and type 4 questions. Here's the best way to guess them. So basically, in type 1 and especially type 1 questions, you're given 2 sets, and after that, there are 5 follow-up questions that say set A, set B, or neither. If you guess them randomly, there's a high likelihood that you'll get none right or just one right. But if you guess them all as set B or all as set A, there's a high probability that you'll get 2 or 3 questions correct. You can also guess it as neither, but this is probably not the best idea because you probably result in getting 1 or 2 answers correct only. Now moving on to type 2 and type 3 questions. So what are type 2 questions? Type 2 questions are next in the series questions. So basically you're given 4 shapes, and there's some sort of progression in these 4 shapes, and you need to determine how the shapes are changing, and using that you should be able to predict the next change and the new shape. The next shape in the series. The strategy for this is to focus on one element and to see how that changes throughout the series. That will make it simpler for you to identify the main changes that are taking place. Few examples of changes that could take place are the number of sides or the number of angles. And the 2 things to notice in a series is that there'll either be progression or something will be alternating. An example of progression is having a 3-sided shape in a 3-sided object in the first shape, a 4-sided object in the second one, a 5-sided object in the third one, and so on. And alternating would be something like a black shape in the first one, a white shape in the next one, a black shape in the next one, then a white shape. And basically either one of the two will be happening, or both can happen together as well, and you want to keep an eye out for them. Lastly, you have type 3 questions. So for type 3 questions, you need to figure out the relationship between 2 shapes, and you need to predict the related shape for a new shape. I'm saying shape a lot. In the next, and for another shape that's given basically. And here it'll be easier because you'll be able to see an example right up here. So basically what you want to do here is not just look at the horizontal pattern or just the vertical relationship. You want to look at both the horizontal and vertical relationship, because that'll give you more opportunities to figure out clues, and it'll make it easier for you to find a pattern, especially if you're focusing on just the horizontal and you can't figure something out. You should shift to the vertical, and if you're just focusing on the vertical, you should switch to the horizontal. Those were my main tricks, tips, and strategies. This is something that will just be the icing on top of your cake of practice. And basically just do a lot of practice from question banks, from full tests, and I think the best resource to do practice for abstract reasoning is Medify. It's really good, it's really accurate. You can also use the Medic portal, Kaplan, the official UCAT website. These are all great resources to use. So just practice as much as you can, and I'm sure you'll do great in your exam. Hope you liked this video. I hope it helped you somehow, and if it did, be sure to drop a like down below and to hit the subscribe button for more videos.